just given what Justin Verlander's gone through this year, did it feel nice to get him a win on the last try?
It did. Typically when he's come out of some close games, we haven't been able to hold it. And, we barely did today, but it's nice to get him a win. I mean, look up, it's 3.85 ERA. Again, only walks one guy, and that's pretty much by design. I think in that point, he just didn't want Goodman to beat him. So knows where it's going. Pitch consistently every time out. We don't give him a ton of run support, just enough today.
Obviously, things got a little dicey for Walker in the ninth inning. What can you say about the way that Bivens came in and shut the door there?
Yeah, Biv's got a real good ground ball rate. That's kind of what we were looking for when at first and third right there. But ends up getting a couple outs, hits a guy. Now the bases are loaded and nowhere to go. Makes a pitch just good enough to get a pop-up. But, look, Biv's done any number of roles that we've asked him to do, whether it's length, whether it's, in this case, closing a game. Over his 2 years here, he's been pretty versatile for us and came up big for us today.
We talked to Justin on Monday about what would happen if you guys got eliminated, and he was kind of like, of course I'm going to start on Saturday. Was there any conversation for you guys about what the end of his season would look like?
No. You look up, it's 29 starts. That's pretty good. And I think the IL was more kind of it wasn't even an arm thing. So he keeps himself in great condition. He's conditioned to pitch. He's a horse. And, ends up with 29 starts. And to bring his ERA down to, a sub-4 ERA is pretty remarkable from where he started.
Casey hits the 3-run home run to put you guys up today. What have you seen from him in just his versatility and power? He's played more games this season than he has before in his growth this season.
Yeah, this is a big year for Casey. And then, he's got some power, obviously. It's the consistency and learning a position and still, keeping the bat in play. So, you go from third to second, it's not easy. And, there's times offensively he can impact a game like he did today. Once he gets settled in a particular position, I think this year goes a long way in letting him know that he can succeed here and succeed at different positions. So a lot of uncomfortable things he had to deal with this year, but I think he's come through with it nicely.
Bob, getting back to Verlander, you talk about how you just don't see pitchers like him anymore. I mean, he kind of reminds me in some ways of Nolan Ryan because of his ability to make all the starts like you mentioned and the stats that he accumulated. Just what was it like for you to manage him this year?
He's easy to manage. He's going to be prepared. He's going to be ready. He's going to want to be out there for a good length of time. I mean, he's thrown upwards of 120-some pitches this year. He's honest with you when he's a little beat up or tired during the course of a game. It's pretty much an easy day when he starts.
Bob, Rafi had a really good snag in the first inning at first base. I recall back in July you said, when you work him into first base, there might be some tough days there. Just curious overall, your thoughts on how he handled first base defensively this year, from when you guys started introducing him back
Yeah,
in.
it's not easy. In this ballpark, day games pop-ups are tough here too. I mean, that can be difficult to deal with. The other side of the diamond ball always comes back to the field. Just as impressive was, he gets that squibber down the line, which is going to spin weird in your glove. Comes out of his glove, stayed calm, flipped it to Verlander. All those type of plays that he's never really had to deal with at third base. I think he's done a great job.
How do you sum up this year for you?
Honestly, haven't really had time to think about it. Just came off the mound. So obviously kind of a topsy-turvy season. First half quite difficult. Happy I was able to find some mechanical fixes to kind of get back in the right direction and pitch well in the second half.
I know we talked about this a little bit in Phoenix, but given some of the ups and downs you navigated, especially in the first half, how much more validating is a season like this, knowing you had to navigate that? You had the season with the sub-3 ERA.
Yeah, sub
13.
Yeah. I think obviously you'd always rather it go well, but it's nice to be able to turn it around, especially after a few months. It gets really draining and it's tiresome, and you just gotta come in every day and have a positive mindset and keep working hard. That kind of relentless pursuit of finding something or anything to make it click paid off.
How special is it for you to tie Bob Feller, the great Bob Feller, in wins?
I tied? I met Bob Feller back in the day at Old Dominion, so I was in awe. Just a legend, and so yeah, that's actually a pretty full circle moment right there.
When the interview we did with you in spring training, we probably talked about 300 or around 300. And how do you view that pursuit now, the way this season went?
Yeah, I mean, it's more difficult, for sure. Don't think it's out of the question. I think, if I can maintain my health and make, how many starts did I make this year? 29 starts. If I can go out there and make 29 starts a year and be healthy and pitch decent, I don't think every year. I do think that the beginning of the season, some of the pitfalls kind of had to do with still kind of bouncing back from some of the nerve stuff from last year, some of the neck stuff, and ironing that out. So, I think more importantly, if I can go out and make 29, 30-plus starts and give our team a chance to win for a few more years, then it's possible. Look, I'm not going to say it's not. It's definitely harder, though. If you make 29 starts, you'd like to win 10, 15 games. Wasn't in the cards this year, but maybe this year wasn't meant to be for wins. Maybe this year was meant to be kind of like for health and kind of like refinding myself and getting used to taking the ball every 5-6 days and just kind of going out there and being able to log some innings and maybe that'll carry me where I need to go. I don't know.
Back when you signed, you said one of your goals this year was to kind of prove that you still have it at this level. With the second half that you had this year, do you feel like you accomplished that goal?
Yeah, I do.
Justin, you're obviously a free agent at the end of this season. Would you reconsider re-signing with San Francisco?
Yeah, I'll consider anything. I really enjoyed the guys here, and obviously it was a tough season personally, but as far as like an organization and the guys I got to play with here, it was just like so class and really just off the field and in the locker room, one of the more fun seasons I've had. So, yeah.
Not to under or overstate it, but is it just show you after the kind of season you've had how tough wins are to come by? Just as far as
Yeah, I think as the game is changing and guys go less deep in the game, I think it's clear that wins are getting harder and harder to come by. That being said, there was plenty of opportunity this year.
Yeah, Bob said before the game he thinks you pitch well enough that there might even be some multi-year offers out there for you. But what is you headed to? I know you just came off the mound, but I mean, what do you think you'll be looking for?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't. Haven't honestly had time to sit down and think about it. I don't even know if a multi-year offer is something that I would really want at this point in my career. I think at this point it's take it year by year, and I think this year, like I said, was for me personally making 29 starts, throwing 150. How many did I throw? 152 innings. By my standards, that's pretty low, but that's kind of a different age and game. So, to be able to, especially with the second half, and be able to show that I can throw quality innings and be successful, for a period of time and not just kind of like a flash in the pan. So that was, like I said, more importantly, I think making close to 30 starts, taking the ball on a regular turn, and then figuring it out and doing the same with some quality innings. That was a big step forward for me, and something that like I view that once your body kind of gets in the routine of doing that, I think you're able to rinse and repeat more and more year after year, and you just learn from each season. So, that's what I think was the most positive takeaway from this year.
Would pitching closer to home maybe be a factor? It's the first time you trained in Arizona, right? And your family expanded.
Look, I'm going to be really honest with you. I haven't even had time to think about it.
Yeah.
I've been scratching and clawing and just trying to find anything to be successful and pitch well for the San Francisco Giants. So, I'm going to enjoy this game tomorrow. Watch Webby go out there and hopefully lock up a couple of big things for him, and I don't know. I'll sit down with my family and talk about that in the offseason.
How much more confident are you now versus spring training in terms of pitching a few more years? because of spring training, you're coming off the injury, it's uncharted territory.
Yeah,
now,
totally.
After what you've done, you get more confident?
Yeah, I think much more so after the second half. I think the first half was, I think my stuff was there, which led me to be confident that I could turn it around and find myself. And ironically, some of the mechanical adjustments I made sacrificed a little bit of stuff for deceptiveness. But I was able to have success and still maintain my health and recover every 5-6 days and feel good when I took the mound for the most part. So, that kind of showed me everything I needed to know as far as physically being able to still do what I want to do. I don't want to go out there and do what I did the whole first half. If I'd continue to do that the whole rest of the season, then we might be having a different conversation. But to be able to find it and learn from one of the more frustrating first halves in my career. I've kind of always said I look back at some of the toughest moments in my career, core surgery, Tommy John, and when I look back at those now, I look back at them really fondly. I learned so much through those process to allow me to sustain the success that I did after those incidences took place, and met people that have helped me along the way. And I hope and look back at this first half as the same type of thing. Maybe a few years from now, I get that 300th win, and it's like, man, that first half that I really grinded through in San Francisco really taught me a lot and allowed me to get where I wanted to. You got to have that mindset.
Obviously, you got a little uncomfortable there in the top of the ninth. Just what was it like for you to watch that inning play out, considering it was on the line for you and the team?
I just try to stay calm. I found a different place to sit in the locker room than I had all season. I had a different brand of beer. I just was doing whatever I could. So just was happy to see it get pulled out. Biv did a great job when he came in and got a big punch out and got the last out.
What was the beer?
Come on. I've tried them all this season, so don't worry. You think it, I tried it.
Well, what will this season do for you going forward? You had a lot of different roles, did a lot of things to contribute.
Just knowing I can, compete and contribute at the big league level. There's always stuff to work on. I've got a lot to work on, but, obviously this wasn't the year we had in mind, but there's a lot of positives to build on and a lot of positives for next year.
How big was it for you guys to get this win, knowing that Justin was trying to obviously get it to W?
Yeah, I think just as a team, the way we played a little bit, so we're trying to just win, period. But, getting a win for JV is it's pretty cool, knowing what he's done in his career. So just helping him in any way we can, but, also as a team, just taking advantage of every opportunity.
When you have a guy like that on the pitching staff, how much have you guys learned from him, given all his experience in the years of?
Yeah, he's been, he's Hall of Fame guy. I haven't really gotten to talk to him a whole lot because he's a starter and I'm, a relief pitcher. So I know for the starters, he's been very, very helpful all throughout their highs and lows and the whole year. So.
I know you still got one game left, but how valuable is it for you as a way that the opening day roster, you've been on the team from start to finish, again, pitch the variety of roles. What can this do for you going into the offseason?
I haven't played as well as I wanted to, in all honesty. But I'm just excited to have put together a full year in the big leagues. There's a lot to build on, a lot of positives to take away, but I kind of hold myself to a high standard, so I'll be thinking about those things in the off season, just trying to build on them and be even more of a contributor next year.
You feel a different kind of pressure, I guess, when you're trying to close out a game like that?
Yeah, that's kind of what baseball's all about, those last innings when it really, really matters. So it's fun to do that, get the opportunity to do that.